Now, it is time for the tier list. Once again, inspired by Dratno's video, we are going to, and I'm just going to close this window so I don't see his thumbnail and get polluted. So we can do this nice and raw. Yes, we are going to break down the game.
By patch?
By patch and
Jesus
by thing.
Christ. All right, see, let's... Longest stream ever, let's go.
Okay.
Yeah.
10.0, A plot story, B-.
B-. Yeah, it's not bad enough for a C. I agree.
Oh, I know where this.
I agree with that.
10.1 A plot. Compared to what it should have been and what it should have showed, I'm going to give it a straight C.
Literally, I only agree because where the fuck is Farak, and why didn't we avenge the Niffin? Like,
yep, yeah, it's like because you missed those. It's like that is it's like everything else could be great, but you are clamped down to this value because of those mistakes. Yeah. B plot stories 10.0.
B plot. Oh, sorry, you're not doing the predicted 10.2.
Oh, the predicted.
Yeah.
I am going to say.
There's my vote.
Oh yeah, it involves night elves. So
Theoretically involves night elves. It definitely involves Emerald Dream, so I'm going to predict an F so I don't have my feelings hurt.
I'm going to go for B-.
I fully expect a D. Like, I fully expect to be ripping raging at it. And most of that, to be fair. Just because I'll actually be real for a second. They have so much to do with this. Because Ysera and Alexstrasza, that's a pretty complicated relationship. It's actually not complicated. It's pretty simple. They're sisters and they love each other. Like,
yeah, you just have to do it in the game.
Yeah, you have to do it properly.
We'll fuck that up somehow.
And the other thing they have to do then is Ysera and Myrthra. That's pretty all right. There's Ysera and Tranda. It's all right. Ysera and Malfurion. All right. What's that? Where's Malfurion? This has gotten very complicated.
Yeah.
So there's all these complications of there's Malfurion. He's dead but not dead. He's basically dead but not dead. But for all intents and purposes he's dead.
They put him back in a little rechargeable battery holder in the Shadowlands.
Yeah, so they need to so he's effectively dead, but for a reason that no one knows yet because Sarah's back for some reason. So they have to do that. They have to get Veranoth characterized and her relationship with the Alexstrasza in the past hinted to enough because we know from the book, the Scaleborn War is coming up, that's like they had a relationship in the past. They were like close friends, closest sisters. They were like vying for peace together. So they have to explore enough of that the book doesn't feel out of left field. And they also have to do something with Emerald Dream, which inevitably includes Lune, inevitably includes deeper looking into the Titan plan.
They're going to give 15. They're going to give half a TikTok to everything that you care about and somehow destroy them all at once.
That's why I genuinely predicted D, if not an F. But that's from my personal opinion, and the execution of things that they do will probably be fine. It's just a question of will they do it? Because for me, they have to do two things. They have to execute well and give things enough breathing room, but they also have to make me like it, which is going to be the hard part because I'm very invested in this stuff in a very specific way.
Okay, I'm going to go to C+. I'm happy to nudge it down.
Yeah.
B plot stories, though. I think we are an
straight A.
Straight A.
Not an A+ because nothing cool happened.
But where the hell do we put the Heritage Armor quest lines? Because those technically are in the 10.1 cycle. Sorry, the 10.0 cycle.
They're weird because they're not B plot to Dragonflight. Oh, they're B plot to World of Warcraft.
Yeah,
they count.
A plot. A plus.
Fuck, they count. So were these 10.1 then?
No, they are 10.05.
Oh yeah, that's right.
10.07. So I think they have. And 10.07 did have the Forbidden Reach campaign was better. I know it was very short.
Yeah.
I'm going to say A plus.
Yeah.
If the A plot was as good as all of that content, we'd be having a different discussion about WoW.
Oh, a different one entirely.
10.1 stuff, so there's not as much of it, but it was great too. Basically it comes down to tier quest, Blue Dragon quest.
Blue Dragon quest was stellar. Calls It Rebel was fine. tier was fine.
Fine to good.
It was too undercooked to my liking.
Okay.
It was way too undercooked to my liking.
A?
A.
I feel like
It's weird because I didn't really.
because the blue.
I
was that
didn't
good.
really. That's annoying because the blue was great, but like Zaralak had like one quest that I remember.
Yeah.
I think this has to be like an A, but carried by the blue Dragonflight.
Fair. And I'm going to say probably an A for 10-2. Makes sense.
Yeah, likely. Oh, okay, because they'll have a load of B plot with like night elves being like all talking and green dragons been all talking to each other and stuff,
Yeah,
and that'll
might
be fine.
actually be good.
Yeah, it's just the A plot's going to be fucking ass.
Content pacing.
Hmm.
I'm going to say for launch A.
It's weird because this kind of Well, I mean, it's the fucking patch launch, so starts the expansion launch. It's gonna be like an A or an S.
Content was grand there.
Yeah.
For 10-1, the pacing of content I think is like A. Like I feel like okay, I'm ready for the new thing, and it comes out in a few days, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume it'll continue to be an A.
I imagine. Yeah.
Talent trees,
I'm gonna say it started at a
B,
profound B.
and I think now we're probably at an A minus.
Now we're an A minus. Yeah.
Fucking hell, we're off on a chord.
Yeah, it's like
10
we're
probably going to be an A. Seems to be creeping up.
I'm gonna say yeah, because an A we don't have an S here, but yeah, I would say an A plus or an S would definitely go once they've got all the class trees reworked.
Yeah.
Because I looked at like some of the DPS class trees, and specifically the rogue one is fucking ass. It's so dog. It's good ideas, but execution is just not really there at all.
And that's why I think in 10.1.7 or 10.2, that's when the rogue rework's coming, which Ian did mention.
Oh, did they? Fuck nice.
Yeah, it was in the Wowhead interview, I believe.
Ah, nice.
That it's not making it for this cycle, but it is something they're working on.
Fantastic. Excellent.
So,
super happy.
That's good. Right, raids. I'm going to say that
Fault gets an A.
yeah. I'm going to say that B plus.
Abras gets a B plus. Yeah, I agree.
Fucking hell, this is.
Yeah.
I'm going to say A again. Fuck it.
Yeah. So, just for a little bit of flavor on this, because I think just going, we agree, it's fine. For flavor on that, I think Vault Incarnate was an A because it was a very fun raid. Razageth was a fantastic boss. Tho was a fantastic boss.
Yeah.
Some of them weren't great, but they were good enough filler to be like, yeah, this is fine. You're allowed a couple like nothings. I'm actually, can I downgrade Abras to a B minus?
I'll take it. Yeah. Yeah, fair.
So I just thought about it. But the reason it's an A.
Magmorax.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, Magmorax and like half the raid and Heroic feels undercooked.
Yep. So and Vault gets an A, but not anymore. Like I thought it was a fantastic raid, but like mechanically, but the impetus for being in the raid was okay, like story wise, but the actual environment was a bit ass. Abras wasn't that much better. Abras had some cool stuff to it, but the like undercooked and the bosses are a bit ass. Like Magmorax not existing, Skarn being all weird, little tiny bit overcooked. Yeah, like Adam, you're right about like the faceless one not being acknowledged, the raid been free, missing mechanics, no emotional payoff. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But also
10-1, the undercooked patch.
Yeah, but also an awful lot of the very small things they did in there and how everything worked into it, like gearing wise, and the whole experience of progging through it, outside of it not being great, was a good experience overall.
Yes.
And also, I actually do really appreciate, and I kind of don't talk about this as much because I like focus on the negative stuff for feedback a little bit, but like the actual story they told with the Black Dragonflight and the Legacies was actually very good. It just wasn't executed well and left out too much. But what was there was actually really good and I enjoyed it. Abras was a pretty good environment. It felt pretty real. And I'm sure there's other positive things to say.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming
Take that.
they'll get that stuff sorted out.
Mythic Plus, I think, gets to. It's like the difficulty spikiness of both probably has to go against it because they haven't felt like they've came out with great tuning. And we've been really appreciative of the pace of tuning. But ultimately they have overshot it every time.
Yeah. That's why I'm sat here thinking like we're going for like a B minus because the dungeons are good. I really like Mythic Plus's expansion, but they've had so much wrong in them. I'm sat here like a B minus and then a B.
Fair.
And then I imagine a B plus because they'll do slightly better, but not great.
Yep.
And also I can't say because I don't know what dungeons
So-
they're going to pick. So
I think dragon riding, I'm going to give it an S because
Yeah.
it's a great feature. But if we're talking about 10-1, I think I'm going to give it a C because we needed more, like, we needed them to play with verticality more in the design of the new zone. It really should have, like, engaged with dragon riding.
it only,
and
it
the
only
new-
did in like 2 areas
Yeah.
and both of them were shite.
And the new thing that you have is shit. Like, the ground skimming is so weak.
And also the aerial halt they added is a bit,
Yeah.
nah.
And
okay, I like
I
that.
imagine it will return to being an A in the Emerald Dream because, it's probably fine.
It's going to be so funny if we don't have a zone in Nintendo. Because we can't make the
Itemization
Emerald Dream.
rewards. I'm going to go to A. B plus.
Nah, B plus because the
to
Hunter Bow.
A.
A, yes. A minus.
Okay.
A minus.
Yeah, it's like we need some finessing with the system as is, but I think it's been a big improvement. I'd certainly take it
yeah.
over any, Thunder or Titan Forged, bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. It's just there's a couple like annoying things where this would go up an entire point if they would just add dinners back into the game, or figure out a way to make very rare and extremely rare stuff like exciting and attainable. Because if I were to give my personal experience, I would say, like, what do you call it? The itemization of this patch has been brilliant. Outside of the fact I never got Jaren. But getting, like, having Dragonfire Bomb Dispenser, fucking fantastic trinket. Having Beacon to the Beyond, that is a game-changing trinket. When you have that, your life is different. Like, actually, your life's different.
Fuck you.
Like, what was it? It was... So I got a bunch of footage doing Proving Grounds on a bunch of characters at 70 for, like, for B-roll, for, like, class changes, like, because Proving Grounds is one of the only ways on PTR without managing to cobble the group together, which you basically can't do on PTR most of the time because Americans. But you're like, okay, sweet, wrong time basically. So you Proving Grounds you can go do, and it's like reasonable enough to be like a good enough experience. You get the heal things, you get the tank things, you get the DPS things in time, you get the interrupt and stun and things like that. So good enough. Like, it's not as good as a proper M plus run, but it's okay. And Beacon, and that is just, I could probably have done Endless for about 50 waves. I actually stopped because I went, I am going too far with this. Because one of the things that the Proving Grounds in the Endless does is it just gives you bigger and bigger mobs with like you have a small window to do this much damage. I just save Beacon and go, oh, you're dead. Goodbye. Thank God. Goodbye. Well done. But yeah. But then I have the trinket. So for those without the trinket, it's like, it's
Yeah,
kind of shit.
I think some sort of way to, like, there is a way, right, where Blizzard could actually codify very rare items as, like, let's just call them big yummies.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe there's a system where, like, eventually you can grind your way towards having one of them.
Yeah.
And
Maybe it's only
then-
one instead of getting full bis or something, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be a good thing to go to. Because you still get the randomness feeling good, but you then have a way where people can actually go and earn the thing. And then that means that, like, for everybody in that raid, that big chase item is, like, exciting because they know, like, they can literally go and chase it. Because, like, it's okay if that's an infinitely repeatable, like, ARPG combat thing, but it's not. It's on a weekly lockout. So you do want people to be able to realistically get that thing. I think this is different from Nazuro, where it's like the drop rate is high enough that I think everybody should be able to get it if they put the work in.
Yes.
And it's okay to have work for that. So,
Here.
all right. What do we think? I'm going to say A.
I'm going to say A because they're still not going to work out the worst of kinks, because they may even slow things down, because there's a lot of feedback saying itemization's a bit too, like, getting gear is a bit too fast from some players, so they might figure it out. They might kind of pull back a little bit here and there, but yeah, like likely an improvement.
So the problem with some of these next ones is
They're too wide of experience, like.
some of these are also a bit like, this is Dratno's tier list and we play the game very differently. So it's like, for my experience of tier sets, I've thought that both of mine looked cool and I enjoyed the effect they have.
Yeah.
Happy.
Yeah.
But that's an extremely personal take, and I don't have the knowledge of every single class's specific instance at all of these different points in time.
Yeah, I have a cursory knowledge of them, but I wouldn't be able to say about the overall experience. So, like,
We're
I
just
would
going to
say
say B+ for everything?
that feels like a bit of a cop-out. But for tier sets, I would probably say this is roughly what I think overall. And that is, I think, was like an A-. Because Vault tier sets were largely very good.
Yes.
Abra's tier sets were not largely very good. And mine fucking sucked
I
ass.
just need to hit the Discipline Priest button. There we go.
Mine were just like, they look fine. They look fine. That's probably dragging them up, but the actual experience of them were not very good.
How about we say B+? Well, 10 to, you know what? I just said B+. Yeah. Whatever. Right, class balance.
I'm going to give
fine,
I'm
right?
going to give this like a B+ and then an A- because
It's been fine, but there's always been a few garbage people. Like I think rogues are currently big garbage people.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say.
I mean, not people. Sorry, rogues are garbage. You're not garbage people.
Yeah.
Although, wait, you're playing rogues. Could be garbage people. I'm watching you.
Class balance is not terrible where there's nothing that feels truly unplayable. There's stuff that just feels way out of meta, and there's clearly like, you can do
professions and sparks. I don't fucking know. It's like Evoker. I have not played that.
So in my head, I'm going to say professions and sparks were. This was a fucking B-. The spark system was C+. Spark system is good, but the spark implementation in season 1 was ass.
Fair.
I'm going to say B for this because they were a bit kind of weird because there wasn't a whole bunch of new gear, but the spark acquisition was way cleaner, way nicer, way better, and a big upgrade. Way better. You were just kind of just reusing old gear, which was cool, but it didn't feel exciting or interesting. But even then, the fact you're reusing old gear that you could do is also positive to it.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I've got this, I'll keep it going. But yeah.
Let's all right, and then let's just say we assume maybe an A- for class balance because they're going to do that rogue thing, and I'll probably.
Oh no, B.
B.
Ogvoker is going to fucking wreck this game.
I forgot about that entirely.
Ogvoker is
shit.
Unironically, Ogvoker is going to fucking wreck this game, and the answer to the question is, how will it wreck it? Not enough or a lot, because it's it could go horribly, it could go fine. But I certainly feel a lot like there's too much question marks, and how, like as an example, how Prescience will work is that's 30% crit and then 15% echo damage chance, plus like the little bit of versatility from Shifting Sands, and then main stat. There's just going to be something really completely scuffed by it, which is I don't want to think that way because they're doing a good job overall. But I feel like it's definitely, in terms of how it trickles down across how people think about it, it's going to be like, well, here's an example. Well, Fire Mage is actually like a pretty solid B tier this patch. This is completely made up, but it's entirely hypothetical.
I like the new accent too.
Yeah, Fire Mage is like completely like a B tier this patch. However, if you have an Ogvoker in there, then the combination of Prescience, which doesn't really matter because crit doesn't matter too much anymore, like in the grand scheme, but the combination of Prescience timed at 0.3 seconds before their combustion window, while Ebb and Might is pressed, and they also have the shift and stance, actually brings them up to a solid A-. And then people will be mental over like, oh, my class is shit unless there's an Ogvoker, even though that's just not going to be like, it's not going to be like 30% worse. It's just going to be, oh, is there an Ogvoker in this raid? Move him into my group or I'm bad. You're going to have those discussions in like pugs, and it's going to be horrible for how people generally explain things like that. Like how they engage with it. It's probably going to be a nightmare. Hopefully a contained one. Hopefully not an important one. But I still feel like it is actually going to be like it's going to be a step back for class balance until the community figures out how to feel about it. Because Details is not going to show Ogvoker numbers.
Even though the advanced combat logging is
Warcraft logs will.
really good. Yeah.
So the Bowhead's every 4 minutes DPS ranking post will show Ogvokers are good. But everyone's like, Ogvokers do 5 damage because Details said that. Or you're bottom of DPS, fuck you. Like,
yeah, that's going to be awkward shit.
That's like I
think Blizzard know themselves. They got a brace for that.
They literally know that. Like, Graham said in his interview with Kalamazzi, it's like actually it's a thing. The community will have to like have a learning curve. It will be they will have to learn this.
It's fair that Blizzard can say, "Listen, community, we're not fucking bound by you anymore. Stop it."
Yeah. Professions, I assume going forward.
Yeah, because of course Johnny fucking No Brains is going to look at his thing, not think, and get angry. But also, fuck that guy. Eventually, over time, he'll be called a fucking moron by enough people that will probably be okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Get fucked, Johnny No Brains.
Yeah, like Johnny Awesome. So Evoker, I'm going to say Evoker was. I don't fucking know. I'm going to say B. I'm going to say B plus. I'm going to say A.
There we go.
A for augmentation.
So UI
B for not A. B plus for not A for augmentation.
There you go.
Spot on.
Okay, so UI and HUD, it's like I have to give them points for how big it was at the start, but I have to take away points because a few key things aren't there.
That's unfair. Like C because it wasn't done.
It wasn't done.
Because that was the problem. Wasn't done.
But see, this is weird because like it's C. Hang on though, it's C, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
Now I feel like a C should be don't do that and try again. So I feel like definitionally we need to give it a B minus because that's still a pass because it's better that they did it.
C's a pass, mate. Especially in this ranking, a D is a fail, an F's a fail. A D is a why did you bother, and a C is a
C
like
plus.
a C plus.
Okay,
C plus for effort. Yeah.
By the time we reach 10-1,
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a B.
Yeah, it's really running out of things wrong with it at this point. Like really bad.
Maybe we go for B plus or A minus. Maybe a B plus.
Nah, B plus because they're
B plus.
clearly they're clearly doing iteration things.
So now we can compare with Dratnos. So
This will be hilarious.
I can call them out to you, maybe. Right. So Dratnos gave content pacing. We gave it a B minus. Oh wait.
We give it A the whole way.
Oh no, they're different.
What?
He doesn't have story here at all.
What the?
So his content
Right.
pacing is AAA. Our content pacing is AAA. Very good. Raids C plus B.
Interesting. That's a bad opinion.
I don't know in what universe this Sarkaret situation is better than.
The Sarkareth was actual anus compared to Razgat, like.
Like I think Sarkaret was good, but Razagath was great.
Yeah, yeah.
Hang on though.
Mythic Raider.
Mythic Raider and also.
Of course. Well, hang on. How's a Mythic Raider given this patch better than the last patch? This patch fucking sucked unbelievable amounts of ass for Mythic Raiders because of Zed's Karn. No, but then the last. Why did Mythic Raiders play this game?
They could apply being good at video games to anything other than World of Warcraft and probably have a 10 times better experience.
Like, actually.
That said, they're all too old and busted to compete with Valorant Zoomers.
Exactly. Yeah.
So WoW is actually the last bastion. They can't go anywhere else. They're not as good at StarCraft as Koreans. The other MMOs don't have a competitive scene, and all the shooters are being played by e-girls and e-boys.
Yeah.
Who are 13 or some shit.
Yeah, so, like...
They're screwed.
Like, I can understand not liking Mythic Razagath, because Mythic Razagath was hard and interesting.
But also the whole thing where it's like... You just need these preservation evokers because it's like your per priest needs to be rescued, which is a bit scuff.
Hard and interesting.
Hard and yeah.
I mean, I agree, but also like, there's so much of we want a challenge. Not that challenge, no. Any other challenge? I know I didn't almost fall off my chair. No, it's fine. Yeah,
So-
like fuck. I hate elite players. They all complain. I don't know what they want.
Well, Dragon Riding A minus A plus.
Sweet.
So different scores. Itemization C D A. So itemization
Fucking-
got both
again,
C
see-
and D.
See, this is what's going to happen. Mythic players are going to really, really like over-index the bad parts, whereas we're going to say they were kind of bad, but there was more good. Dratnos is, and basically every Mythic player is, both in terms of, and this is where we get into a weird conversation, right? Where, all right, where, now I'll just show this so you can see. Oh wait, yeah. So not because people want to see this. So like, this is what was I saying? Something with this, yes. They have incentives, whereas we want the game to be good. So we will say things that the game should be
Do
good.
we, though?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, okay, cool.
We do.
I'll make a note of that.
Yeah. So when I talk, I'm like, well, this is what I think will make the game good. And my version of good is for like the average player or more players or like a bigger audience or, more success overall. I don't like, then there's a secondary where I want the game to be good for me and my tastes, which is why I'll obviously advocate for the mega dungeon being more of a raid. Yep. Whereas I think it might be better if it was an easier dungeon for people. Like, and that's the kind of the awkward stuff where like, yeah, a lot more casual content. I don't give a shit about casual content, but a lot more is good. But Mythic Raiders are more liable to have an opinion that's a little bit more about themselves and their clique. And that's not a bad thing. It's literally just like their own incentives, their own people. That's how they talk to. That's their audience. Like Dratnos' audience is going to be a lot more people who are invested in like the negative parts of itemization was bad for them, but good for, maybe good for casuals, or raids sucked for Mythic, but it was better it was good for normal and heroic. So I think there's like a fundamental difference in logic and framing here, which is something I want to kind of address and go, well, like, so the terrible itemization stuff is like, they'll over-index that part being bad, whereas I'll put more weight into this was a better experience for more people. But obviously the itemization A there being for Dranos is literally, here, good, yay, please. I was expecting it to be worse just because of the issues with very rare items, because heroic and mythic people are very complaining about not being able to get the items that make their class as good. And that's just
fair. Yeah.
It's fair, but I also think that it's fairly important that there are chase items to a degree.
But then
it's just that chase items become necessary for them, but not for other people.
But then the thing we just talked about with chase items is, maybe some way of actually chasing them.
Yeah, of course.
For like your Jaruns and stuff.
Yeah, but that's going to take like 1 point off for me, whereas it's going to take like 3 points off for someone else. So,
yeah, I guess this is sort of interesting. Well, what's next? Okay, so we talked about itemization. Yeah. Stat bonus is B, A minus.
Interesting. So I was under the impression they got worse for most people, but maybe I'm like over-indexing like 3 classes.
Yeah, so it got worse, and then there was a wave of changes. Like what we saw with Disc.
Yeah, but that's still, like, I don't know. It's just the ones I look at go, that looks less fun.
Professional Spark, C+, B+. B+, A+, A. There you go. So there, we're more critical.
Of course we are.
Evoker, B+, A for us. A-, A. There you go. We're more... Damn, we must be dickheads. I have a final one.
We're
bastards. World content.
I'm very reluctant to give things an A unless they're very good.
So
because I don't want to. Again, you know what? I'm going to take the high moral ground on this because I feel like it would be funny. So, see all these A's? No, that's telling Blizzard. That's telling Blizzard they don't need to try hard anymore. That's what that is. But you see this list, fucking B's, full of B's here. That's do better, son. So that's it. We're advocating for this game to improve.
That's it, yes.
That's my defense.
So world
I'm not
content.
being serious, by the way. Just a little bit.
I'm going to say...
Fucking FFF, no. Good subgroup that.
B+, C-, A-.
That's fucking hopeful.
I think Zaralek didn't come together.
I agree.
But I do think that like Forbidden Reach for what it was came together. I feel like there was enough new sort of ideas and stuff like that that, it went above the average. But I think launch, still... they still haven't cracked it in the way that Guild Wars 2 has. And I feel like to start getting A and A+, we need more Guild Wars 2 levels of like zone sort of mechanical integration and immersion. So I think A- is probably as high as Blizzard can get right now. The reason I'm saying A- is because I think that the feedback from, Time Rifts when that happens and just these last 2 patches, I think that can inform them in a way that will likely lead to things being good. Like you'll probably notice actually for 10-2, a lot of our scores go up. And a lot of that is
making the game better.
Yeah, A lot of that, like, that's maybe the main thing here. It's like our expected, like, direction is positive, whereas, like, whenever 9.1 came out, your expected direction is like fucking, it's the gutter.
You have not showed up to my house and shot me. Very good. This is better than I expected.
Yeah. So there you go. We've done a report card. We will file that with the principal.
Yeah.
And now, just that apparently we're the students and we are filing a report card against the teachers and giving it to Ian.
Let's go.
Which doesn't really make any sense, but you know, whatever. It's fine.